It sounds like an issue that the academy is going to have to continue to stay on top of.
Yeah.
But something that they can, they can get with nonetheless. I want to talk about how dangerous this is as it relates to its effect, his opinion's effect on public policy, right? So, like, one of the things that I realized is that, like, when I had gotten to the article, bro, by the time I read, like, the abstract,
yeah,
it had been accessed on the site over 2,500 times at that point.
Mm-hmm.
And while I can commend Springer for taking it down, the idea that there's no telling how many more people end up accessing that thing, number one. And number two, we also don't know the percentages of folks that, like, accessed it, read it, and internalized it as something that is a part of their lexicon now. You see what I'm saying? Which makes it dangerous. And the problem with people like Dr. Lawrence Mead is he is seen as an expert by people who are movers and shakers of and creators of public policy in this country.
I'm still tripping on, like, how do niggas get these titles? What is the process, and what is the I guess, like, how many public policies have you been a part of attached to?
So here's why him being a part of public, like being seen as an expert in politics and public policy, is a problem. People like Dr. Mead will write opinions.
Yeah.
Will, go and speak at places like Texas Tech.
Yeah.
That really broke my heart, man. I was like,
You know what I'm saying? Speak at Texas Tech 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And these policymakers, be they lobbyists, be they, politicians on either side of the aisle, will use the words of Dr. such and such and such and such.
Yeah.
He's got 40 years of experience doing blah, blah, blah. He's seen this many presidential terms and blah, 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 blah.
The whole time he proving his point to 19, 20-year-olds. All right.
You see what I'm saying?
Right.
And so what they do is they will.
I'm just saying, like, you know what I mean? Like, unless, like, if you sit in a spot and you talking to 19, 20-year-olds, and then there are other people who are tenured like you and are experienced like you, and you never go, I don't know what to call it in academia, but you never, like, in any type of
peer-reviewed debate.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? It's just like, bro, what are you really talking about? Like, how you an expert just because you speak and you've gained some type of popularity?
Because people will take his opinions and let that be one of the frameworks that they use to write a dangerous and destructive public policy.
And then, like, him talking about being communal. Well, then what are you? Like, you're tenured, champ? Is that not a form of, like, isn't that a communal, like, reward? Isn't that?
I mean, yeah. I mean, because, being tenured based on just how it's been explained by G, and just kind of watching his whole process and trajectory of being a professor, I mean, the shit really encompasses a whole bunch of things.
Yeah.
And every university has their own criteria by which they'll measure your your ability to be tenured, right? Now, for example,
so it's really based on how much sauce you got.
Yeah, and sauce is operationally defined different by each institution, right? So but
at the same time, they want you to be tenured to look good amongst other outside institutions.
Well, here's the thing. Being tenured is really more the goal of the professor themselves, versus like the university, like, oh, we want a bunch of tenured professors. Like, it's, you know what it's like? It's like how the United States say, hey, we want you niggas to be legal and not be illegal aliens over here. But guess what? Your path to citizenship is gonna be difficult as shit.
Yeah.
Good luck.
For sure.
That's what it's like.
Okay, that's a
and
bit.
each institution gets the. So, for example, G can take what he's done right now. He may be able to go to a HBCU and they be like, "Dang, Dr. Penny, couple more years, man, you gonna fuck around and be tenured around here, man." He can take the same record and take his ass to USC, University of Southern California, for those that don't know. And they be like, nah, champ, try again. That's real shit.
So, all right. So
That's how niggas like him become experts. He's been at NYU for 40 years, cuz.
Hey, man, and I ain't even gonna hold you. A nigga that's been in the same spot for 40 years, hey, champ, some of your shit might be dated.
Well, so you brought up a good question. Like, how do we define expertise as it relates to the academy?
Yeah.
One of them is longevity. Have you been around long enough? Being around for 40 years, you've been around long enough. So that means, oh, you know how to play the game, this is dirt. But we also do it by level of impact. So let's say you only been around for 3 years, but you done pushed out 20 articles that have been peer reviewed, and
Now you ain't got no sleep.
And you got seminal articles, so you got stuff that people click on. I.e., oh man, you know what? The Build is the first one to ever do a versus battle. So before there was a versus battle on IG with everybody popping up because of the COVID, right? Y'all was doing the versus battle. That's
right.
The seminal work, right? There's a level of impact because if everyone was starting to do what you did the way you did it, they have to, they have to cite you, it's that thing. Or saying it differently, is you the plug?
For sure.
Is you the only distro in the area? You the one.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? If you the distro, you gotta go pay homage to him, man. That's the one.
And based on his longevity, there may be people in his department that don't agree with him and who have battles with him. But because he's the OG on the scene, he's gonna always get pushed forward. It's kind of like, hey, bro, we know you's a hell of a fucking defensive end. You in the 9th grade. This nigga is mediocre at best. But he's a senior. He's got some offers.
For sure.
Kind of don't want to, put him out like a cow in the pasture. So just wait your turn, big dog.
And
that's what it's like.
And his parents have access to a thing that we won't hear. Because that's the other side. So like when you are a cis, heterosexual, white, Anglo-Saxon Protestant male who's been in academia for 40 years, you got favors you can call in.
Yeah.
Because folks know you. Man, it's cool. I can just call my partner. Who your partner? Condoleezza Rice. For real, you know?
Right.
Or such and such and such and such. Right?
Who was a lobbyist out of such and such state.
So,
yeah.
So that's the thing. And I'm not saying by any means that he pulled strings to get his stuff into the Springer article, like into the Springer database, into the journal Social, I think is what it's called.
It's Society.
Society,
yeah.
But he still has clout. He still has the ability because hey man, I'm 40 years in the game, bro. When nobody was here, I was here, man.
Right.
I'm the one that laid the foundation. It's the same way, y'all niggas love Michael Jordan.
I don't fucking love Michael Jordan.
I don't love Michael Jordan.
I mean, it's the
that's
same
y'all
way.
niggas. He talking about y'all niggas.
It's the same way y'all niggas love Michael Jordan.
Niggas.
Like, oh man, he the greatest to ever do it. Are you sure?
Yeah.
But neither here nor there. I ain't gonna.
Yeah. And so, like, the danger that comes with that is policymakers and politicians and lobbyists will use his words, his thoughts, his opinions, his actual point of view and take it as like the fucking gospel and the framework by which they'll create a policy that ends up turning around and having men go to jail in exponentially larger rates for nonviolent crimes because they had, a QP of grass on them.
Yeah, for sure.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Like, and so the dangers of that, really begin to affect, black, indigenous, and other folks of color, and poor white folk.
Poor white folk. Bro, and just sitting here, and like I've read it before, but as we breaking it down, this shit is just stupid, bro.
It is,
and it's like it's not even.
So what part specifically are you talking about?
Like Westerners are moralistic about social order and demanding the behavior and respect universal principles. That's not how none of this shit works.
Nah.
That's not never more. If we gonna keep it a buck,
Let's keep it a book.
if we gonna keep it a buck about America and how shit get done in America,
As we do.
Hey man, you really gotta leave your morals at the goddamn door. Like, if you really wanna, I can't, you know what I'm saying? And even as we try to maneuver as a build, as a production studio,
Indeed.
so forth and so on. Hey man, if I cut your throat,
Right.
it's because that's what we playing at. That's
Straight
the rules
up.
of this game.
Straight up. Indeed.
And at times, morally, I'm gonna have to say, all right, man, this is what my morals say, but what does business say?
Indeed.
What does doing good business say do?
And that's the thing. And some of his public policy affect, economic restraints. It affects social things and stuff like that. Which is why, like, I often wrestle with the answering the question of whether or not within capitalism is there room for moral and ethical practices, because G and I talk about this all the time, and it's one of those situations where, all right, bro, in capitalism, what capitalism says is, hey fam, I gotta win, which means somebody gotta lose, which means no Vaseline bend over.
Facts.
And then, as you so eloquently put it, Cobb, that ends up feeding into the patriarchy, and then the patriarchy says, "Hey, funky bitch, shut the fuck up. The lights is on this month." And it just kind of.
And when everybody like, oh no, I'm not, bro. Patriarchy doesn't say no. Patriarchy says, call your woman a funky bitch and tell her the lights are on. That's what patriarchy is.
Don't question me about what the fuck I'm doing, where I'm going.
You funky bitch.
Yeah.
Where would you be without me?
And that stems from the ability for people to make policies that allow them to not pay you a livable wage. You know what I'm saying? But then tell you that you need to work harder and pull yourself up by the bootstraps, and be more individualistic in your pursuit of success. Like, that leaves room for shit like that.
Bro, but like in like talking about that in Western, from a Western perspective, it's like, bro, that has also led to famine, that has led to plague,
Indeed.
That has led to people not being able to have children, that has led to just all kind of death.
Yeah.
Simply because a motherfucker want to beat his chest and say, I got the power to do so.
Right.
I'm an individual.
Yeah.
So let me just go ahead and take over this whole country for the fuck of it.
That's pretty much how
You
it's
know what I'm
working.
saying? Or I'm a general, and even though these Native Americans wasn't really fucking with me, and I just got here, man. Now I got to get my head chopped off in the mountain somewhere.
Yeah, that's.
You know what I'm saying? Like that is what like, fuck the morals of, hey man, these people were here first.
Yeah.
That's not moralistic.
Right.
That's not, you know what I'm saying? That is not moving off of universal principles like he says.
Right.
Bro, that what he described is, he low-key tried to finesse us and like, hey man, be like white people.
Basically. Assimilation.
And it's like, man,
Yeah.
and it's like, no fam, we don't want to be like white people because white people got us all fucked up.
Straight up. But the thing,
And it's like, and that's, and like, in saying that, and me saying that, like, I'm not trying to be racist. I'm just following and connecting the dots of history.
Indeed.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it has always been a thing of one individual white man gains power and then makes the rules based on this power. Then another individual white man says, fuck your rules, I'm gonna make another rule.
Indeed.
And then, but even though we are two men in power, we're gonna hold everybody else in hostage. So they have to pick one of us.
Indeed.
And like
Red and blue.
that is 2020, man.
Yeah. Indeed.
In a nutshell.
Indeed. No doubt. No, I agree. So then that leads to the other thing that makes that problematic, because then it comes down to like who's teaching who. Right? Like how do we get into that space, G?
You and these questions, boy. Honestly, because you brought this up earlier about, oh, you gotta do this, you gotta do this, you gotta, play politics. That's not really how you get into space. You need somebody to hold the door open for you. Because you can play all the politics you want. You can ha 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 and the he 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 and the cut and shuck and do the duck and still not get there. You need one person to open the door for you. But you have to know that one person ain't gonna be able to walk in the door with you. Because their body is gonna be what holds that door open for you, right? So it's the thing that I hate about niggas talking about Harriet Tubman, right? Because there's the quote that she never said because it don't exist, right? I freed 1,000 slaves. I could have freed 1,000 more if they knew they were slaves. Can I have a little leeway so I can talk about
ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Take your time.
At what point did a nigga not realize they was a slave?
At what point?
At what point did a nigga not? Oh man, now I'm working 20 hours in the field just because I want. Now man, I'm working in the house and I'm cooking and I'm on my feet and I can't pee and I can't produce my own kid and I can't sit down at all. Oh no, but I ain't a slave though, nigga. I know that I'm an employee at my. Every nigga that ever worked a job know that they working a fucking job.
For sure.
So what makes you think that that's logical? Number one. Number two.
Go ahead.
Two,
Talk your shit.
We like
Go
to
off.
shit on people all the time for not leaving the plantation. But do you know how selfless you have to be to hold the line so that other niggas can get out of there? Because if every slave left the plantation, nobody makes it.
No.
Right? So somebody's got to be there, and some mama, some daddy, some uncle, some auntie, some big mama got to say, no, I ain't going to go with you.
Facts.
But take my grandson with you. Take my daughter with you. I can't go because if I'm gone and we all leave, we can't all make it. So somebody got to stay there and get the punishment. Somebody got to stay there and confuse massa. Somebody got to stay there and fill in, because if we all go, we not gonna, ain't nobody gonna go.
Nobody gonna make it.
Right.
So with that being said, who's willing to hold the door? Who's willing to be slaughtered opening the door so that everybody else can come in, right? And the problem is we got people in the places that look like us, but they ain't really for us. Took me a while to get there. So when I was young, I was like, oh man, I'm for all black people. But then I heard it again as I got older. All my skin folk
Indeed.
ain't my kinfolk.
Not at all.
Indeed.
Not at all.
Right? Because when you buy into the American mythology, the moral landscape of America, you're going to become a fuck nigga because you have to.
Indeed.
You can't be like, so that means your morals going to be flip-flop and wish-washy based on the day and the situation.
Facts.
So that means now we got to get a better programming of who going where. So I like The Chi. I specifically like season 2 of The Chi, when they start talking about how the 63rd Street Mafia had a person, a plant that was like, he never got in trouble, he was smart, he didn't do this and the wrong, and he was the ideal candidate to be an upstanding citizen. But he also had deep ties to the gang, right? We low-key got to do that. We need to vet the people that we put up in positions. Hey, bro, listen. Hey, bro, you gonna go up here, you gonna have to sacrifice a little bit. You gonna get shot. Then you gonna have to be a little different. But we need to know when you get here, bro, that you gonna hold this door open for us. Because that's your whole job. Your job is to move like this so that when you get to the top, you can hold that door open. Yeah, you ain't gonna be able to let everybody in because you know it's a thing, but you gotta be able to have enough resources so that when you don't let us in, you can direct us somewhere else.
Facts.
See what I'm saying?
Facts.
And because we don't have a unified message or mission, it's really, really hard, right? Me and Chris were having a conversation yesterday about black progressives versus black conservatives. The conversation is, well, what is it? Is it what takes priority, economics or social policies?
Indeed.
Because, and Chris and I and everybody that knows me knows that I say we can walk and chew gum at the same time.
Indeed.
For sure,
You
for
can,
sure.
but you got to pick which one you're gonna do first.
Yeah.
Are you gonna put the gum in your mouth first, or are you gonna stand up and walk first? Because you might be able to open the wrapper and as you're standing, put the gum in your mouth. But at some point you made a decision, I'm finna open this wrapper.
Right.
First, and then as I'm standing, I'm gonna put this gum in my mouth.
Yeah.
So we need to first figure out what our priorities are. You know what I'm saying?
Indeed.
I'm sorry, y'all.
I mean, but no, like, and then like in figuring out our priorities, that I can't say like a little piece, a little tiny piece. The black middle class is converted to an individualist style and thus advance.
Right.
But most blacks have not.
Yep.
And so what, like, you have niggas who want to hold on to the grass and but still reaching for the sky. So you have niggas who like who, and for the most part, this is what I see on Twitter. I see a lot of black people who are educated, but they still wanna wallow with the trolls and be in the slums. And then it's like, hey fam, I don't really give a fuck. I don't really give a fuck if you know about the struggle or if you identify with the struggle. That ain't what we sent you to college for. That's not what, when, you know what I'm saying, when other folks make the decision, man, I'm gonna just make a little bread and I'm gonna get my taxes and I'm gonna see about buying some land, and then you wanna fuck with me and wanna be at the same spots that I'm at and like, oh man, I'm in it, I'm with you. I'm like, no, you supposed to be making policies and doing the shit and using your education to protect the land I'm buying. Cause at the end of the day, I'm buying the land for us.
Indeed.
So what happens with that is like, now you are at this point you middle class because you educated, you got a few dollars in your pocket, and you only got a few dollars in your pocket because technically that's what it says. But after your student loans, after your bills, after the rent, you broke as shit.
Super broke.
You broke as shit, but you're not poor enough to get any assistance.
Indeed.
You know what I'm saying?
So you just a nigga in limbo.
So you a nigga in limbo, and rather than just, man, all right, cool, like I'ma just go to the top, we really just be on some like, oh man, I'll just chill here. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just do a little hair. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
No, just enough to buy a few clothes.
Indeed.
You know what I mean? Like on some all falls down type shit.
Yeah, Kanye West type shit. Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Like,
absolutely.
Oh,
that's enough money.
Kanye.
The old Kanye. That's enough.
Not Jesus.
That's enough money to buy a few new pairs, new airs.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what I mean? But at the same time, with like, and then you become individualistic in the fact of like, all right, man, now I'm better than you.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm better than you because I have this education. Well, bitch, you still in limbo.
Indeed.
How you better than me? At least I jumped off the porch and was like, man, fuck it, I'm go chase a bag.
Indeed.
And then you go to college and you say, well, I'm going to college, but why are you going to college? If you're going to college to chase a bag, you hustling backwards. You know what I'm saying?
I mean,
you hustling backwards.
That is
really
that is the case.
It depends on what you
doing
want to do, right?
Yeah.
Like, so there's an article.
Is it like formal education? And this is just me as a person who grew up around educators. Formal education right now and how people learn things is so dated that it doesn't matter what field you in, you fucked off.
Right.
So, and I know this because I had ambitions of getting into one of the, you know what I'm saying, like it was deemed a great business school in Bower at U of H. And then I'm taking classes and it's just like, fam, this shit is dated. Like, we're not even talking about business and social media. We're not talking about, we're not talking about how the internet has played a role in business and how it has changed and evolved and so forth and so on. Like, we haven't done none of that shit. And we still talking about marketing and ads and shit. Like, fam, what, like, the formal education is so dated that it don't really matter. Like, you paying your money and you ending up in debt is hustling backwards regardless.
I mean, so I'll say this. I'll say there are some fields that are super innovative because they have to be, right?
Yeah.
Like, some fields have to be
Mm-hmm.
But some fields don't have to be. Like in most business, most business stuff, you're not getting up to date stuff because, for all intents and purposes, an MBA is a useless degree.
For sure.
Right now, if you were in, say, let's say you were in digital marketing, because there's a degree for that. There's a business degree for that. That's gonna tell you, oh man, listen, man, Instagram, da 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 da.
Yeah, for sure.
So it really just depends on where you're going, because the other side of that is some fields like medicine are on the cutting edge because they have to be.
Yeah.
Every day they met with a new disease. So the researchers that are biologists, that are botanists, that's biochemists, that's biophysicists, that's neurologists, they on the cutting edge because they have to be. They're producing new scholarship. But if you in a field that don't really change, you in law,
Yeah.
I mean, it's law, nigga. Ain't a lot gonna change with the law.
Facts.
Or at least how it's practiced now. What might change is some new policies about legality around intellectual properties that you share on Facebook or stuff like that. That's different. But for the most part, like, it really just depends on the industry. Most industries are archaic and dying off.
Indeed.
And we know this, and the academy is having a hard time because when you're an institution, and when you are a sacred cow, you're not as nimble because you're not meant to be, right? You meant to be a stalwart. You meant to be a cornerstone. You know what I'm saying?
Indeed.
You meant to be the one
Indeed.
in the Northeast, if I remember.
Indeed. Absolutely.
You meant to be. So then that's your whole job. And now somebody says, "Oh, nah, bro, we want to move you from the Northeast to the West." Wait, whoa. Wait, I got to do something different?
Yeah.
It becomes more challenging. So I think, for a lot of jobs, a lot of vocations, you are hustling backwards.
Yeah.
There's a select few of them where, hey man, some stuff don't change.
Yeah.
Indeed.
You know what I'm saying? So,
And
some
so-
stuff takes longer to change.
So one of the things that, like, after kind of like going through all of that, I mean, of course, the Talk That Talk episode was a quick hit, so we didn't go into this deep dive. I didn't go into this deep dive. One of the things that I talked about was, like what the solution is, and Cobb, you developed a show that we'll be doing called The Builder of Civics, surrounding the idea that because you and I aren't the niggas that's gonna be picketing in the street,
Yeah.
we would have to make some sort of contribution to the education of and the movement of black people and just people of color and indigenous peoples. So we've got the Builder of Civics. Can you speak to why you like what the show is and why you wanted to create it?
Well, really, it's just based on, like, I just wanted to give people the rules to this game that they playing.
Right.
And what a lot of people do is, even us, like I'm not even talking about outside of us. We will say, "Oh man, y'all not doing A, B, C, and D. Y'all lame. Y'all whack. Y'all don't want change."
Yeah.
And it's like, well, have you asked them?
Right.
Do you know how to do A, B, C, and D?
Absolutely.
Do you know what the first step is? Do you, if you can't get to D, can you do A really, really good?
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Because we can find people to do B and C.
Yeah.
And D.
And D.
Yeah.
But like, I just need you to do A
Right.
really, really good.
Right.
And that doesn't happen. And so where you get these arguments where people become defensive and it's like, man, fam, why the fuck would I want to do A for you?
Yeah.
Like, you
that's
talking to
true.
me like this, like, why would I want to do A for you?
That's true. Yeah.
And this is just like, it's one of those things where it's like, man, it's rules to this.
Right.
It's how
There's buzzwords. There's
there's
lingo.
buzzwords, there's dog whistles, there's lingo, there's coded languages, and all of this shit.
Yeah.
And it's all supposed to work in a manner. And I don't.
And so doing the Builder of Civics gives the build itself the opportunity to kind of like decode
it for people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Feel that.
And
I feel that.
I don't like to man, I don't just like to be preaching to people. I don't really like to be selling nobody no dream.
Yeah.
And I feel like in civics it's like, man, I'm not selling you a dream. This is what it is.
Yeah.
This is really what it is. I'm not finna, like, man, I just see so much wild shit
Yeah.
on the internet. Like, niggas was mad at people who was like, man, y'all was getting that unemployment money for this long and y'all ain't come out with no business and no yada, yada, yada. One, did you ask them if they knew how to set up a business?
Straight up.
Two, do you